there's a 1 cent sales tax that Metro is allowed by the legislature to tax for Metro use. And it's kind of somewhat convoluted, but early on there were some challenges to that by some of the cities. Humboldt, for one, that's in the group, led a charge on it, and actually I believe filed a lawsuit against Metro about taking that 1% away from the city of Humboldt, and whether or not that 1 cent should be with Humboldt, 1% should be with Humboldt, or whether it was really all Metros to use. That somehow got settled in the early stages of Metro. And as a result of that, all the cities in the Metro Cities group made agreements with Metro on getting us a portion of that 1 cent sales tax. And it's basically around a fourth, I think about a fourth of that 1% comes back to the city.
What is the logic behind that?
Behind what?
Metro collects 1% sales tax. They turn around and give it back to us.
Only a fourth of it.
A fourth of it.
Yeah.
It looks like a bribe to me. I mean, the cities are raising hell, and because like Humboldt doesn't get any Metro service. I mean, you get right down to it, they're so far off the bus lines and the rail lines, I can understand why they would raise Cain about it. Now, we are on it, but in any case, it just, logic doesn't make sense. That Metro collects the sales tax and then gives back to the cities, and they're struggling, they're having, all this rail they're trying to put in, which will benefit the city and everybody, and it just seems to me like it's kind of ludicrous that they're having to give this money to the cities. I have never heard any logic to it, like, are we building facilities that the city knows better than Metro, like repaving Kirby or something? Is that the logic behind it? Is there any logic, or is it just a bribe, it seems like to me?
Well, I don't think it's a bribe, but I mean, there is something to that. I mean, the argument you said at first is the argument that the prior administration felt like, why are we giving any of this back to the cities? This is our money to do anything, to do what we want to do about Metro. We know more about it than the cities do. Why are we giving this back?
I support mass transportation, and I'm encouraged about the new things that are happening there. When I go through and I look at their budget proposal, which I've looked at, it's exciting that the level of transparency. They keep talking about transparency over and over. And prior to this administration taking over, it was like a secret society over there. So I'm encouraged about that. But I asked 3 questions that I asked our city manager to get answers for, and it managed to create quite a stir. And that surprises me. One of them is that I wanted to get an explanation about the recent Federal Transportation Association finding that they had violated the federal procurement and the Buy American laws. And what it did is it basically turned around a $900 million grant, made them start all over. And they wasted a lot of money. It's been estimated $60 million is just gone. And I felt like that I'd like to hear about that. And I know that they want to tell that story because they're telling it in various. Second thing that I wanted to know about was the appointment process. Now we have the small cities appoint 2 people to the Metro Board. Those appointments come up in February. Now, Anise Parker has replaced all the appointments, the city appointments, with new people. I wanted to hear about who our appointments were, the process for us making them again, and I really wanted to hear if we were going to go and appoint the same people again. It had seemed to me that if we had board members that had been there when this huge morass of problems occurred, we should think long and hard before reappointing the same board members. But I wanted to hear, and I wanted to give them an opportunity to come here, Mayor, and answer those questions. The third thing is I had had several residents come up to me and ask me about getting out of Metro. And so I asked the city manager to go and find out, could we? I felt certain that it required a legislative remedy, which it does, but I wanted to go get an answer. And I think that's how this originally got on the agenda. And it created some anger, I understand it, about I think, Mayor, you weren't very happy. You were happy at first, and then you you didn't want it to come up. And I have to say that these three questions are questions that I think residents are asking. We want to give them an opportunity to for them to have our trust again, because Metro lost the trust of the residents.